them people were getting shot and doing shootings at 14. I'm not going to say names. Remember, I got locked when I was 15 years old. Think about it, Kelly. I was 15 on that situation. I'm bullshit.
Yeah, but don't you think that as much as that was happening, it's happening a lot more now? I feel like
I think things were happening. It just wasn't spoke of.
That's what it was.
Hi, my name is Ricky Jackson, known as The Link, and welcome to the A4NB podcast. This is the first shot that we're doing. Here we've got Kelly Davis, one of the co-partners who's going to be a host. Also we've got Dazzy.
Daz.
We've got
Daz, 2 Z's, by the way, not one.
So what brings us here today is respect to Hard Food Podcast, who invited me on, I think it was like a year ago now. We was talking about some of the issues around Wolverhampton, and there was a lot of controversial responses from people. I think we've done some big numbers on that episode. So big respect to Juice and Adrian from the Hard Food Podcast for inviting me on. Without that, this wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have been motivated to go ahead and do this. I'll get Darren to explain a bit what A4NB is about, what we're planning to do, and yeah.
For A4NB, I think first of all I want to say how far we've come. So in the last 12 months, I think between me, Ricky, and John Paul, we've come quite a long way, and the support that we've had from the city has been great so far. But in regards to A4NB, so there's 2 sides to A4NB going forward. So we've got the community side. We'll have the line. Obviously, you'll start seeing these flyers going about from when? The end of this month.
I would say probably by the time they see this episode.
Yeah. So obviously,
it should be out there.
Yeah. So we've got the line set up, which Ricky's been putting out quite regular on his socials, just giving people insight.
The line.
And so the aim of the line is it's meant to be held by volunteers within the community. We're still collating a database for people to volunteer their time, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, to hold the line. And what that is going to do is going to enable people within the community to phone the line, young, or if it's your parent, you need some kind of support, you call the line, and whoever answers it will be able to direct you to the right service, or whatever it is you need. This will be where all the information is kept. There's a lot more to it that we're working on in regards to security for this, and all the information we kept in this and a safe box. So this will be handed to each volunteer every single time it gets handed over. So obviously you'll see a lot more about this as we're doing a campaign in schools and a couple of events as well. So that's that side of things. And then regarding this podcast that we're doing, that directly links into it, and then Ricky can explain that part.
Podcast is literally just it's a place for information that's going to be talking about what the line's doing. So the line's going to be doing its work, but it's going to be getting backed up by the podcast. So on here we'll be inviting people on to talk about their success stories, talk about traumatic experiences they've had as growing up. It's going to be talking about the reasons why crime might be where it is, and prevention of how to stay away from crime, and just kind of just share stories, because I think sometimes when someone's going through something traumatic, it's easier to go through when you know somebody else has already been through it and you can relate to them. So it's just a place where people can probably watch it and be like, you know what, I make sense of that. And if we can make one difference, that means loads. So that's what hopefully people enjoy. We don't want to be too serious though. That's why I brought Kelly on. Needs someone to just kind of bring it down a notch.
I love that you make it, I'm the one with the sense of humour.
So literally we're just going to try and just relax a bit. Obviously, the more we get through it, the easier it becomes. We've never done this before. Obviously, I've never presented one. I've been on the receiving end, I've been asked the questions. But when it comes to leading one, I've never actually done it. So obviously, over time period, feedback is very, very much welcome. And obviously, if you've got any ideas for topics to talk about, etc., we'll take that on board. But yeah, if you want to criticise us, just do it on the slide. Just don't put it.
We'll block and delete those comments.
So yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw it back on you straight away anyway, because you seem to have majority of the answers. But I just obviously just talk. I want you to just talk about, let them know like how you've come to drive yourself into this kind of area of working in regards to community work. Obviously, I know the background as such. We know the background as such. But I just think it would be important because obviously, sometimes when people can't see where the dots are connected, they're like, so why are you doing it, kind of thing. So
so basically growing up in the hood, the ghetto, the inner city, the projects, what they're called in America, obviously growing up in Park Village, growing up and seeing a whole heap of rubbish, like shootings and stuff like that was the norm when I was growing up. So that was what I was seeing daily. When I say daily, it wasn't as bad, it's not Chicago, but I was seeing it, a lot of it.
Like it's not even a real situation.
Yeah, like, I was hearing it. If I wasn't seeing it, I was hearing it. I was in a situation where I lost one of my close friends, but on the receiving side of a gun, and I witnessed everything. So that changed everything, because obviously around that same time period, I think I mentioned this on the Hard Food podcast, I just had my first child, and that just kind of changed my whole mind frame and mindset into why I need to get out of the hood. So I moved away. I was always involved in business. I was always like entrepreneur kind of type, but never knew what I was actually in business. I was doing my thing, and I was doing it well. When I set up my first business, the car wash, and then from there I led on to do other stuff. I gone to uni later on down the line. I wrote a book and all them kind of stuff come later. But that transition from being a road youth to where I am now in business, I just felt that I had advantage of obviously having my dad show me he's never shown me financial rich gain, like that kind of stuff, but he's shown me support and hard work and graft. So obviously I implemented what my dad taught me. I've just put in a hard graft, and then I just found a way how I can make money from the same graft that he puts in. So I just feel that there's not enough role models out there in Wolverhampton who, let's say not just Wolverhampton, I think all over. I think as being young black, the only role models we've got are entertainers. So it's people in the music industry, football, some form of sport or some form of entertainment. And I think that's how black people are looked at, is if you're going to be successful, you've got to go down that way. So I told myself, you know what, I'm going to do it in business, and I'm going to let other people coming through see that it's not just through entertainment where you can earn money and earn a living. So obviously this here now is my way of showing how I've gone from one place to another, and kind of give you like the steps of how I've done it. It's not going to be for everybody, but there's going to be something that you can take on board. And I think that's something that the community lack. There's not enough people sharing their success. They might brag about what they're doing and talk about, I've got this and I've got that, but when it comes to this is what I've done to get there, I think that's where people lack.
So you just want to use your platform to actually help people rather than just
So basically, you know, in regards to everything you've said, yeah, that makes sense. So is it a case where you formed your own identity, or would you say you've kind of, it's been steered based on your parents? Because with me, you know, listening to what you've just said, I was just sitting there thinking, how would I look at it? And I can look at it in my life. It's kind of I identified me as me, not through my parents. Like I've got parts of me that I carry that's from my parents, but they didn't form my route in life. I think all this I'm doing now, it's just been, yes, my mum was heavily involved in charity work and stuff like that, but my dad wasn't. Do you get me? And my mum wasn't like how your dad was with you. My mum wasn't, she didn't kind of pull me aside and speak to me. My mum was very much the total opposite. My mum kind of allowed me and my brothers to kind of, you know what, alright then, go and do that. If when you get born through it, you get born, you learn it, don't go back. She wasn't kind of like, don't go by the fire. So I've come to the point where I am now, I think it's just based on me wanting to. Do you get me? It's been like so organic. I think it's from the people that I'm around and going through certain experience, and it ties into my personality because I like to help people just in general. I like to support people in general. I think that's where my whole thing's come from. Do you
not believe that the fact that you want to help people that's because of your mum? You said has always been involved in some form of charity and
okay then. So actually tell a lie. So my mum from speaking to people about my mum and the time what they get from my mum, obviously they do get that side from it. Do you get me? But in regards to this, I don't know because like I said, my mum, the time that my mum was doing it and stopped doing it to now, there's a big kind of a big gap now. Do you get me? For where I've started. So I personally just think it's just my own experiences has brought me to this point. It wasn't really my mum or my dad that says, you get me, I've picked up things from them, but it's not really that.
You have worked with views and stuff before, like with eyes and that, so do you not feel like that has also...
But that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm on about within this journey. So obviously I'm on about, since I've come out of prison, so when I come out of prison, I was very much the total opposite of what Ricky, like Ricky seems like he kind of had it. Obviously he didn't go to prison. No one didn't go to prison. Ricky didn't go to prison. I went to prison, but...
Quick question, before prison, were you different to... Obviously you were different to A1 now, but as soon as you came out, do you feel that you were a completely different person? From there you was like, okay, this is what I want to do.
100 million %. 100 million %. Before I went to prison, like, it was so tunnel visioned in what I was doing. It was just...
You see what's mad? And I've got to go back on it, because this is how this episode's going to work. You asked a perfect question, and it made me think about it. It took you to go through something traumatic in order to make change. So you went to jail and it woke you up. I witnessed my friend get shot dead in front of me. It woke me up. People go through that. So I remember on the hard food, I made the comment, and this one was...
I remember.
I said the comment, and I'm going to say it again. What can you do to help the youths who are out here letting off gunshot and stab them? Nothing.
It's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing.
The reason why, and let me explain, because I didn't really go into it. I was a bit stubborn on that episode. But let me explain to why you can't do nothing to help them. Some of them are going to die, like I said before. Some of them are going to go to jail for life, and some of them are going to wake up. Whoever and however it happens, it's out of your control. This is what I'm saying, is that's why with this A4NB, we're focusing from the age of year 7 in school. That's younger than the youths are not even involved yet, but they're the ones. Prevention.
Yes.
The youths that are involved, there's some of them that want to get out and they can reach out, and we will 100% guide them. But there's nothing you can really do to, like, sometimes there's a film in it, In Too Deep. Like, there's no different, like, the In Too Deep. You can't expect, when I was on the road, you can't expect to do something to me, and because you decide now I don't want to involve, I'm leaving you. I'm sorry, like, there ain't no turning of a cheek. That was my mentality. So it was an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And that's the same principles that's going on the road. I witnessed my friend get killed, and that made me think, you know what, why? Like, I seen parents suffering, I seen friends suffering. I went through a period of suffering. We all did, and it woke me up. The first thing I done after that was went through setting up life insurance. Thinking, if I go, I'm not making my people them have to suffer to go and bury me. Like, mindsets changed, so it opened up many doors. So sometimes going through something very negative isn't a bad thing. It's only bad if you stay negative. You've got to learn to turn that negative into a positive.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's where you've gone to jail. So people might say, look, this is why I can't take it when they talk about employment. If you've got a criminal record, you can't do this, you can't do that. They're the best people, because they can talk from both sides of the fence. Like, you can't get more dynamic than that.
If they're in a lifestyle where they're doing bad constantly, the fact that one day they're like, you know what, I'm going to go and get a job, and make the effort to clean themselves up, go and get a suit, go to an interview, and actually try their hardest to get a job, ultimately that is someone trying to make a difference. And if then people are shutting them down, sometimes you can't be surprised that people go back into a certain lifestyle.
Oh yeah, of course,
100%, definitely.
100%.
And this is why we say, run A4NB, you've always forward, never backwards. Run by the community, for the community, because let's keep it 100. We can't rely on the system. Like, until the system listens to what we have to say and feels what we're feeling and comes into the inner city and comes out of the sticks where like the shops 10 miles down the road before they can get, like, I grew up smelling next door's food, like that was normal. Like, these are trying to make judgment based on the ghetto, and the only reason why they know about the ghetto is when they come to take down pictures for the press. So I ain't got time to hear it, so we need to be running this ourselves. Like, the community needs to be doing this. We can't be expecting people to do it for us. So we're going to be setting up like GoFundMe pages where the money that gets donated is going to go back into the community. We're relying on people who, keep it 100, don't give to, you get me, like, they don't care. So, and that's what's annoying. We've got to do things for ourselves. So that's the whole point of why we're doing this.
And adding to that, the fact of the matter is, since we've started it, the meetings we've had, some of the meetings we had, we didn't come up with a lot, did we? Over the year, we didn't come up with a lot, and then we've got to this point now. It's crazy because everybody I've spoke to about A4NB and the two arms of it, they're like, it's amazing. They're like, why hasn't no one thought of it sooner? But the thing is, we're not even. We've done it, and we're not even stepping on nobody's toes. If anything, we're connecting a lot of dots and building a lot of bridges amongst the services that are out there. Do you get me? And also, there's authenticity to it, where, you know, some of the people that are answering the phones, you know, they're not going to be no polished person. Hi, my name's such and such. Obviously, there's a way to answer a phone, but we're not gonna polish them up that much, because that's the whole point of it. We want the people on the other end of the phone to sound like, yeah, I can actually talk to this guy, or I can actually talk to this woman, because they sound like they know what they're talking about. Do you get me?
They don't want to be judged. Like nobody has to pick up the phone and say, okay, I'm in this situation, X, Y, Z is happening. I think something else is going to happen. I need help. You might have someone before. So, for instance, a pupil might go to a teacher and say, I'm scared about something. Ultimately, they might judge them, and from there, kids are scared to go to certain people because they know that the police are going to get involved. They don't even want their parents to know. They need people that they can just call and be like, look, this is going on, I need some support. And at the end of the day, if people are calling, they're scared. Like, that's what it is. People need help and they need support and they need to know they're going to get it, rather than reading the newspaper, something else has happened. Everyone has this hype on Facebook, on the internet, what can we do? Which is fantastic. It's good that there's outrage, because some of those people will act on it, but unfortunately, for instance, not long ago, someone was killed. There was a lot of outrage all over Facebook.
Yeah,
all
I
you'd see
remember.
for like 2-3 weeks, and then
If that.
you don't see nothing now, absolutely nothing at all. And a meeting was arranged. In fact, I think you two arranged a meeting. People turned up. Since then, certain people that might have said, right, we're going to do this, parents and whatnot, you're not really getting that response anymore.
And that's the thing as well. Like, I understand, and that's another thing that I've learned to understand, in this whole situation of doing things for the community. Like, there's some people that have the fire in their belly to do it, but it's a case of they haven't got the coal to keep adding to it, so the fire's constantly burning. And that's why with me personally, I kept putting my name to things in the city that wasn't coming to anything. It wasn't coming into fruition. And I think even with this now, it's like, again, I have to keep going back to it, because it's just been so organic in how it's come to this point. And I think that's the best way through it to be. Do you get me? We haven't rushed anything. We've kept to deadlines and stuff like that, but we haven't rushed. If something's gone wrong, we've gone to the drawing board. We said, okay, then cool, we're gonna have to postpone. And I think with that's why it's gonna work so well when it's up and running in regards to the line and stuff like that. And I just hope that, it gives people inspiration to kind of say, you know what, yeah, let's get involved in it, because I know there's a lot of people that I spoke to, they're hesitant. It's like they want to know what's going on. Tell them, and they're like, all right, then I'll let you know. And I haven't heard nothing back from them people, and I get it, I understand it, but like, it's not that difficult. And like I said, you don't have to be one of them people that's saying you want to change the city and we want you to be at everything, doing everything.
Yeah, and it is a hard job. Like, we know that this isn't going to happen overnight.
Of course.
Even something as small as those people that have said, we want to do something, what can we do? We feel like there's nothing we can do, how can we make a difference?
Hold the phone.
Volunteer and be the person that holds the phone.
Yeah, just hold the phone, man. Hold the line. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm from a lifestyle where, the line was the most important thing. You ain't got your line. If it ain't ringing, then, you're broke, you get me? And obviously, it's at the end of the day, it's the same kind of thing. Just look at it like that. But at the end of the day, rather than it's not money, it's not currency. Do you get me? It's lives that are being saved somewhere, somehow.
Something my dad used to always says to me: if you don't check a doctor unless you're sick. For those who don't know what check means, if you don't see a doctor unless you're sick. Now that's the same, and I've realised this with this situation. People only really want to get involved when it affects them.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm saying, like, I'm not into all these these needles that the doctors want to give you for prevention and all that. But me personally, like, when it comes to this, don't get involved when it's too late. Get involved before your child reaches that age. Because that is what's real. Like, that's organic. My youths are nowhere near that age to be even getting involved in this. But I want to make sure that when they reach that age, this rubbish ain't even going on. We need to skip that generation out. We need to be on them. We need to be doing our bit from now, so it doesn't end up linking back to our children. So people need to stop being selfish and just get involved. It's not about financial gain. It's not about the big I am, whatever. Some people need to endorse it more than others. Some people need to put their face to things, and some people don't. Let's not watch that. Let's look at the real detail of, okay, what lives are we changing and whose lives are we going to improve. That's what's more important than anything else.
Definitely. And again, obviously, I'm just bearing in mind that the word identity is literally on the forefront of my brain. And going back to that word, it's kind of like, me when I was growing up, it's crazy because the people that I would relate to was either the people that I was around on an everyday basis, i.e. from on the roads and whatever. Obviously, my older brothers. But then outside of that circle, positively, it was my two mentors at school. One of them passed away now, which I found on Facebook, which is pretty sad. Well, it is sad. And then obviously the other one's gone into security. But they were two people. When I used to get sent up to that unit to sit with them, I actually used to listen to them because I could relate with them. They wasn't treating me like I'm someone separate to everybody else. They was just letting me know, like, obviously people go through this kind of stuff in school. They've been through and I actually was improving in regards to my grades in school and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, if more of those people were implemented into the community, and I remember, I'm not on about just in school, you know, I'm just on about in general. Again, the line can be something for that, or it can branch off of that. I think these are the things that's missing. I don't think we're going to be able to fix everything and everyone. Do you get me? But that we can still bring the percentage up in regards to crime, that's the violent crime and all that kind of stuff, and even with education as well. I think it's important, man. And it's like, obviously, we're all at that age now. Me and Ricky have both got children, so it's kind of like, you know, we know what it's like. We know what it's like, and obviously, I don't want my children to be able to get what they're getting from in the house, get what they're getting from me and their mother, but then when they go out into the streets, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Because that's what happens as well. It happens, it's life, it happens that children go out into the streets.
There is only so much parents can do. I mean, I was never involved in any gang business.
You sure?
But
Yeah, stop lying.
You sure? Because I don't even say gang, so I'm trying to work out if you actually are involved in gang, because I don't say gang.
No. For instance, there was times where one of my best friends, her mum was super chill. She'd always let me stay there every single weekend. Like, without fail, I was staying at her house, and every weekend, Friday and Saturday, and I think a lot of people in Wolverhampton can say the same. Everybody would be in depot. There'd be a house party somewhere or a party.
Steamers 2020.
Thank you. And if you couldn't get in the party, you go in anyway. If they decide you're not getting in, people would be like, alright, let's lock it off. And at the time it all seemed like fun and games. I mean, things were a lot more serious now, but my mum had no idea. I've been past it in a field, like, I've done all sorts, you know what I mean? And my mum would have no idea. I found out as an adult, she's like, actually, I knew I could smell thick on clothes, I could smell alcohol, but I knew you were safe, kind of thing. But at the same time, a lot of these parents, as much as people are very quick to blame parents, like, oh, how can they not know what their kids up to? At the same time, you don't, because they could have a safe place where they're keeping everything. You have no idea.
At the same time though, these days it's a bit different, because I think a lot of parents know what their kids are up to.
Their kids are coming home with Gucci belts, and it's like, honey, 17 years old, you ain't got a job, so where did the Gucci belt come from?
But then that boils down to as well, and I think this is a thing that I touched base on before, and it's probably something that we probably need to go into a lot more in another episode. But some mums, like, how can I say this without people wanting to come for me?
Please don't come with me.
Listen, but we need that.
So say it, man. Say it with your chest.
Some mums treat their son like he's their man.
Yeah.
Because then,
I get what you mean.
You got some pitney out there who are going to 15 and the mums are like 30, 32.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Still on the road, whatever. The man's out there bringing in a bit of money, putting electric in. The mum's kind of ain't got nothing around, no money herself. So it's like, oh son, I need electric. I'll bump £20, like £20 electric with food in the cupboard. So it's like me stepping.
See though, I don't see. You're saying that,
but a lot of people don't help them.
No. We're not even that. We see. So you're saying it on that side of the fence, and I'm saying it on the side of the fence that, you know, like, my mum were openly saying it. My mum's very open like that. So when I was doing what I was doing, and more so when my brothers were doing what they was doing, do you get me? Like, my mum wasn't condoning it, and she definitely wasn't involved in it. But, you know, if her sons are bringing home, putting shopping, because at the end of the day, how it's went with my mum is that my mum was working. She was a full-time worker. Do you understand? She was in care and that. Do you get me? And obviously she got 7 children. And I ain't gonna lie, my mum used to pattern up for us. I can't sit here and say that we went without, because I'll be absolutely lying. Like, anyone that knows where I used to live in with Marines, I used to come to that house and it was like heaven, because we had all the latest games, and that wasn't from my brothers, that was from my mum, all latest everything. The yard was crisp, everything. We didn't need to want for nothing. Do you understand? My mum was patterning. When my brother started stepping out of line, blah, 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 obviously she had to pull out of work because she was constantly being called out by the schools, by the police stations, and obviously in the end she had to pull it on the back burner. Do you understand? But when my brother stepped up to the plate, you know, they was providing then, so they was doing the shopping for the yard and whatever. My mum wasn't saying no. And if anyone that's seen Snowfall, that's like, I wish watch Snowfall and you'll understand. Like, obviously, it was a case where my mum was very anti, do you understand? Like, no, that ain't happening. But it gets to a point where when you've got so many children, and remember, Joe's, my younger brother, he's kind of like, at the time, he was really young. So she's got to be hands-on with him. Me going to school, my younger brother to school, and then everybody else. So it was a case of, it happens, you understand? Like the child can be putting food on the table, the child can be saying, you know what, let me fix up the yard a little, you get me? We know where the money's coming from, whatever, but it's not so much that the parents are being irresponsible, because you do get them harsh ones that are like, they don't chat to their children again. They will just lock off their children.
That would legit be my mum. My mum would.
Yeah, that's lock off the children.
She would never.
But in a sense of...
my dad, listen.
She get the belt out.
Yo,
but
my mum and dad, no. And this, remember, my dad pastor and all them things that when I was preaching and that, but back in the day, it wasn't. My mum was just normal, but when I got a laptop when I was 15, on some suspicion, and I was in the station, and I had about 3 tendrils of blood on me as well. My mum, obviously, I had to wait for my mum and dad to come in. All I could hear is, where is he? This is not my dad, you know, my mum. My dad's the strict one, you know, like, I'd go to my mum and ask him for anything. My dad, I wouldn't ask him for nothing. Where is he? Coming in there now, I remember, I'll never forget it. What? He had weed? Lock him up and throw away the key. I'm expecting your mum's here now, come to back me. Nah, caught with weed, lock him up, throw away the key.
See, but, and again with me, and you've got 2 older brothers in it, so it's kind of like there was certain...
Yeah, that was worried for me though, because it's in different ways.
So with me, it was almost like, by the time it's got to me, my mum was just like...
Charlie, is what it is.
She was burnt out. She was gonna be burnt out because it was like 3 before me. And you know, it's crazy because anyone would have thought that, anyone that knows the backlog of my life, they would know that before jail, that was kind of the easy part. Because all the things that I witnessed before then should have been a reason for me to lock off everything, but it wasn't.
You know your mum, what do you think, do you know how she was more laid back when it come to you? Do you think when it was your first brother, like your oldest brother, when he was going on with foolishness, do you think she was more on it, like...
So, I can only remember it vaguely because obviously, I think I first remember my brothers going to jail for things like street robbery. Do you get me? And sticking up youths and that, and taking phones. It wasn't a case of, it wasn't the shotting thing. So it was kind of like typical antisocial behaviour that children were getting into at that time, but it was easily to kind of dust them off and kind of put them back where they need to be with some parents. But obviously with my family, it wasn't so easy because it just wasn't easy.
Do you know how, because you know how like a lot of people say, oh, the youths them are worse today than there was before. Do you think that's the case? Do you agree?
The reason, okay, so...
You do?
I'm glad you've asked that question.
Before you go into it, I would like to hear from Kelly.
Yeah, go on, Kelly, actually.
Why do you think it's worse today than it was back in the day?
First of all, kids are running around with machetes.
Okay.
If that doesn't terrify you, then I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not being funny. There's always been crime, and the difference now is we have a lot more social media, so a lot more is being highlighted. So there can be an argument where you can say, oh no, all of this was happening such and such years ago. Yeah, it was. There's people getting stabbed up in walls after the night out. Yes, there was. 100%. It was just as bad. However, I think that the mentality is different now because I mean, me personally, I've never been involved in that sort of thing, so I can't speak from that perspective, but I don't think as many people were going out
you worried.
Trying to like kill people, like they've got a little flick knife that they're hiding in their tracks, and don't get me wrong, that's still so dangerous and people have died from it. And on the flip side, there are a lot of people that were stabbed up a lot of times. However, these days people are like this big. If you can't even, if you stab someone that you can't say, no, I just wanted to scare him. No, you didn't. You wanted to chop his hand off.
Okay.
Like,
so
no.
You know what it is?
It's not.
You've said it. It's been it's been amplified so much.
Because you know what?
It's crazy.
You know what?
I do think that
it's not worse.
It's no. It is worse.
I think you gotta think. You know.
I think it's worse.
Do you know why I don't think it? Do you know what? Right then. Do you know what I think's worse about it all? Let's talk about Wolverhampton. Back in the day, you had Heathtown, Whitby Reeds, Park Village.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we had.
You had the colour badges.
So you had 3 ends. Pennyford and Park Village got on. Park Village and Whitby Reeds got on. No one liked Heathtown in Wolverhampton. Let's face it. Now,
even before that, it was Reens. It was Reens. Park Village and Fire.
We're linked up.
Yeah.
But now it's like you've got ends on every damn street. Like you've got like all these youths. It's like it's been overpopulated.
Which was always going to be the case. Which was always going to be the case. But
what's made it worse is that there's more youths. I don't think it's worse. I don't think there's more bad men. They're not.
They are.
I'm not going to say names, but I'm telling you, like, certain people were getting shot and doing shootings at 14. I'm not going to say names. Remember, I got locked up when I was 15 years old. Think about it, Kelly. I was 15 on that situation. I'm bullshit.
Yeah, but don't you think that as much as that was happening, it's happening a lot more now? I feel like
I think things were happening. It just wasn't spoke of.
That's what it was.
Social media.
So basically, how I remember back in the day, like if a man's going to do dirt, yeah, only that man that's done the dirt is gonna know he's done the dirt, and the man around him. Do you get me? And a little bit of hearsay. Whereas, do you get me? And a little bit of hearsay. Whereas now, if a man does dirt, they're making man know he's done dirt. What that does to the other person that's just been licked down, it gives him that ego and pride where I've got to retaliate now.
Because and then I do think as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm under the impression that there's probably a lot of older people that have always been involved in stuff from 15, 16 that are now getting younger people hyped up to go do it. I think that's what's lacking. Do you think
we always had elders? The youth them now ain't got no elders showing them what you going on with, man. Because you know what, realistically, you know if they had elders, what the elders would be telling them to do is make money. Don't be telling them to go out there and chop man up.
Yeah, of course. I think.
But I don't think that they're ultimately thinking, right, let me go and chop up this guy. I think it probably does resolve around, I want his money, let's go rob him, and then think. But
a lot of these youths ain't making no money.
What's crazy about this whole thing? I can just keep slamming it anywhere. It comes down to identity.
Yeah.
It comes down to the identity of that individual. How is that person's identity made up? Like, what is it made up of? Do you understand? Who's involved in that person's life and forming 100%. That identity of that person? Now, if you're a person, and your family life shit. Yeah, and your parents are constantly on, like your dad's not around, or when your mum's on some jolting. Do you get me? You're stepping out into the streets,
There's man out there riding out with their picnic.
Yeah, it's not even so much the man that are riding out with the picnic. It's more so of a case of, if you're out there and the people you're around as friends, you that's your loyalty right there, because that's who you spend all your time with. Then obviously that's where you're gonna start to do all the things to impress them. So it's a case of it comes into peer pressure then.
Slightly personal question. Do you feel like you went down that road into crime because your brothers did and you were witness that? Because like me, for instance,
yes,
I wasn't brought up around.
Yes.
My brother is completely different. Like, he would probably be shocked by the kind of things that like I hear of and I've witnessed and kind of been around. He's completely different. And if I'm completely honest, I know I've never fallen into some of the, because girls do get involved. Sometimes you find out that things have happened to certain people because a girl has set it up, or
Rich
she's
boy
doing
evil.
X, Y.
I second that. I'm joking. I don't mean no. Nah, you know what it is? I'll be honest with you, yeah. The question is with me, it was a yes and no. So yes, it was my brothers in it, but I feel like when I was a child, when I was younger, I just used to like, it wasn't so much what I seen, unless it was a subconscious thing. It was just more a case of.
Was it more normal?
It was definitely not. It was normal for me.
Was you motivated by money when you was a kid?
Yes, that's what I was about to get to. So with me, it was more of the money, and then hand in hand with that, it was girl. Unfortunately, it was girl. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when I'm seeing man patting up around me and they got their things here, there, and everywhere, they're doing their thing in it. And it's like with me, it was kind of like, I don't know, man. I just felt like I was always underneath my brother's wings in it, so it's kind of like, you're such and such brother, and obviously they used to pattern me up with certain outfits and whatever. That's why when I was in his under 18s, I used to look mad crazy in sauce because I'm getting bare hand-me-downs. But it was more for me. It was more about the money and just wanting to step up real quickly. That's all it was.
You know what? Because I know that you was active from a very young age in the money game. Obviously, you know that. I've never been like, when I was growing up, money was never something I thought about, like, at all. Like,
I didn't. Okay then. So you know when I say money, it's crazy that I say that, because I didn't value the money. Because when the money was there and I'm looking at it every day, it was spent so frivolously, and it was like, that was just a bowl. It was almost like that was just kind of the thing that moves you forward. It wasn't anything I relied on as such. It was kind of like, that gave me a little status. And you know what it was as well? It's because the people that I was rolling with, the people that I first got on the roads with and was rolling with, was my older brother's friends, but he went to jail. So it's kind of, I've just slotted this right into his spot. Do you understand?
To begin with, it probably was that you were motivated by money, but then when you were getting it and were spending it how you could, by then, I'm assuming that you were already so much into what you were doing.
It just became a way of life.
That was your lifestyle?
Do you feel that basically, as I'm asking you questions, I'm trying to ask you questions to see if it's suiting what I'm probably thinking. Do you feel that you started thinking about money when girls started to be interested in you?
Yeah.
So,
because you know what it is, when I was a youth, and I can openly say this, you know, it's mad. I can openly say this, like, when I was first on road, yeah, and if the person watches it, they're gonna know who they are in it. But when I first was on road, and I was getting money, and I got booked in it. Do you get me? Because obviously it was someone that I really, really liked, yeah, and it was, you see, with me. Okay. First of all.
What does books mean?
First of all, hold on. First, before I break down what books means, yeah. First of all, I was always a person, yeah, that always used to, and I think it shows in my history anyway, but people that know me personally, I always used to strive for something that I felt like that people used to tell me that I can't get. Do you understand? And with this particular female, she wasn't kind of in my level she wasn't in my bracket in it regarding who she was and who she was dealing with at the time, or who she was around at the time in it. But obviously me, you'll be surprised. Me little Daz, yeah. Me being little Daz, I was just kind of like, you know what, nah, this ain't happening. And it's kind of like, so when I started getting money, do you get me? I was confident and kind of bossy with it. But at the same time, looking back now, not at the time I didn't realise it, I was getting books, and obviously books was basically, I was getting manipulated. I was getting abused. I'm not joking. Nah, but I was getting manipulated in regards to, obviously, they knew how much I liked them. So it's kind of like, they knew how I'd react to certain things, and they knew how to get things out of me, do you get me? Without giving that much back, you get me? Yeah. And obviously I kind of got took for an idiot. Well, I did get took for an idiot. Learning curve in it. Why not? But obviously, yeah, so obviously that's what happened very early. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I always used to put my eye on a prize of something that I knew wasn't really set for me organically. It was kind of like I had to kind of push and kind of swagger with it. But obviously it worked out in the end. But that's where it all came from with me. So with me, it was money, but it was more of a, I don't know, it was just more of a status thing.
Do you feel that, you was chasing, like when you was chasing money, to what level was you chasing? Like what would be, like when you were, say for argument's sake, 16 to 18, what would you be like, yo, that's what I want financially? Like obviously if you get, man in it, like you want a girl to like you in it, like that's one thing growing up. But when it comes to money, what amount of money was you like, what was you striving for? What would be your success basically?
So at the time it was just like, depended man, because obviously as you know, roads have ups and downs in it. Yeah. So when I was really down, it was just kind of like, alright, then let me try and secure a quick 10 quid. If I can secure 10, then I'm alright in it. And then when I was kind of flexing hard, it's like, alright, then yo, I'd love to lick 50. Do you get me? And it always fluctuate between 10 and 50, 10 and 50, 10 and 50. See, but at the same time, it was like, again, that was very much figures were at the back of my mind, because with me, it was a case of, I've patterned up my phone now, my phone's clicking, or whatever I'm doing is clicking. The line. Yeah. And obviously, it was just a case of, you know what, if I'm honest, it was just a case of I wanted to bring people in. I used to, when at the beginning I said, I kind of like, I would like helping people. That was me in the whole process of my road life. And that's why I kind of got fucked over sometime, but that's part and parcel. But I just feel like that's why there was a lot of fallouts and a lot of this, because I always used to do things to help people and bring them in, and it used to be like, it used to leave me out of pocket or leave me with it like looking like an idiot. Do you understand? But at the end of the day, again, it kind of molded me to who I am today. In it, so it's kind of like, that's what I used to love, bringing people in. And there's certain individuals around here back in the day, and I used to look up to them in it. One of them's still about now, obviously, everybody knows who he is, but obviously, I used to look up to him a lot, and I used to roll with my brother, and him and my brother like Brent and Batty in it. So it's kind of like, when I got into that circle, it was just a case of, alright, then safe. So when I got plugged in properly, and I was asked like, who are you gonna partner, like who's gonna be your partner? I just said, yo, my man straight away. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But at the end of the day, I was kind of grateful because he showed me loads, but in hindsight, looking back now, it shouldn't have been him, because I already watched it fuck up a few times for him. But because I used to look up to him, he was the man on the end. I thought, him. See,
that's what I was gonna say. Because like when I didn't care about money in it. I'll tell you straight. And then when I started thinking about money, I've never thought about figures.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
it was very
I've never
vague.
Thought about figures. One man, yeah, like I've got enough ultimate respect for this geezer. He showed me everything, like enough. And I like, if I make it, like I'm gonna bless him, like 100%, because he don't even know that he's patterning my life a certain way. And this is the difference, like he showed me a different thing, like he was setting up business and all them things as well. And I was looking at that thinking, so obviously I watch films and I read books, so when I was reading all these books, started to get into reading, I'm a bit different, like, okay, so anything I do, I try and do it to the maximum. So when I seen how he was flexing, I thought, okay. And the next man said to me now, and all he said to me, and I'll never forget it, and this is what made my perspective be the way it is. So if there's any youths then watching this, if you're doing road, if you're not doing road, I don't like, obviously I'm not encouraging nothing, but this is something to always take on. He says to me, don't buy nothing unless you can buy it 3 times.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that.
That's what he said to me.
Yeah.
He says, unless it's an investment, don't buy nothing you can't buy 3 times. He just want a car. If you can't buy it, if it's 10 grand, make sure you got 30 grand put down. If it's 50 grand, make sure you got 150 grand. And that always made me not want to spend money. And I always motivated to say, you know what, I wanted to own the world. And not in the sense of I wanted to run the world because I wanted to be the main man and sit on top and everybody else below me. Nah, because that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm more
I don't know still, but yeah, carry on.
Nah, it's serious, because I think about it, you know, like...
Nah, I'm joking.
But let's talk real though, like, I've got business and all them things there, like different stuff going on, but I'm not boasting with it. Like, I'm not out here flipping wearing designer and all them things that, like, there's man out there doing road, we're doing that, I don't do it. That's Diesel. Discount from Diffusion. ASOS. I'm flipping Nike, like, I don't get it.
Okay.
That's it. And the link brand.
The most expensive thing that I've gotten now is my trainers. So, you know, that just tells you.
But my point I'm making is, like, I was always aiming to have business, property, even from when I was young.
But I've never... Hear the thing though. So, alright then, hear the thing though. So you're saying that that's based on who you kind of looked up to, innit? Yeah. So, every single person I sat underneath, there was no end goal, there was no end game. So, the main person that I was around, who was around for many, basically the main person that I was around, that kind of showed me the ins and outs, he showed all my brothers the ins and outs, and I was just the last one in line to go underneath this guy. Do you get me? So I kind of knew certain things to look out for, but I still fell into the same trap as everybody else. And what that person used to do is, he was a very giving person and he wanted to bring everybody in, but he never had an end goal. There wasn't like, okay then, so what I'm doing is when this 100 grand comes back from here, or that 200 grand, or this 50 grand comes back, that's going to that property or that business, I want you to pattern up that. It was like, alright then, safe, let's go to the jewelry shop, let's go and buy guns.
But I think this is why black youths mess up though, because I think that's our culture. I think our culture's like that. We don't like to think too big because it kind of scares us. Whereas like, when you think about it, like if you speak to like...
Well, that could be, going a little bit off topic, that could be because of the obstacles. Like a lot of people say that some people are privileged, whereas it's very well known that black people have to go through 10 times more walls.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
So that could be why people think they can't reach certain
Yeah, but do you know who the downfall is for that though? And this isn't obviously, this is going back further, but the downfall for that and who's to blame for that is ourselves. Because this has been not no accident. A next black man looking at a next black man looks just like him, like disliking him for no reason, isn't just putting you born with it. That's because the system has made you look at that man like that.
And you've allowed
yeah. So the only person that can change that is us. We've got to bring our own in. We've got to spend money without.
Yeah, I hear that.
Like that's how we've got to be. We've got to, like the Asians do it. Like I don't understand why people are so hard to talk about it. Black people don't want to talk about it. Like spend money with your own in it. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying don't spend money with others, but spend money with your own. Don't like walk past your brethren shop to go to a next man because it's 2 pence cheaper.
Rather than the big
yeah, because that's how it is. The Asian man do it. And
can I just interject though on that point quickly? It's changing. It's definitely changing. I've sat down and I've studied the success of black people and I don't want to just stick to just one race, but just for this topic of conversation right here, I feel like it is changing and it's changing and it will have a full effect in about 2 generations after us. Because I feel like everybody the good side of social media is you get access to what everybody else is doing.
This isn't a scale,
you get me? And hold on. And I feel like there was a lot of people, even in our own community, and obviously we're going to do a segue onto that about this, like celebrating people's success in Wolverhampton, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff in this world, that are black people. They're putting themselves in important positions and important places. Do you get me? Even just, as much as the music that they're pushing can be negative. Just look at the music scene alone.
Yeah,
Just the music scene alone. And
I hear you, and I totally agree.
Romantic.
I totally agree, and we're going to touch base on all of these because obviously we need to keep these podcasts not too long.
Yeah.
But one thing we want to touch on, I want to ask you a question. You said in about 2 generations you think things will be proper. How long's 2 generations? Would you say 50 years?
I wouldn't even say 50. I would think more 100. I was thinking more about 100 years from now.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How much black people will be about then?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Like,
There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot. We've got to talk about it because we're talking about the black race. Dying out, not supporting their own. But when you think about it, like there's not a lot of newborn black babies because everyone's getting into. I'm not full black. But I know. I need some numbers with that. You get me? I need to make sure that that's actually the truth. You understand?
For the next show, guys, we'll come with some statistics.
Yeah, I think we need to come with some statistics for that because, like, I don't want to just hear that and it's not the case because you know what it is. When I'm seeing people on the TV, obviously at the moment, they are like majority. The ones that I'm on about successful, the majority of them are black. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But it's true what you're saying because they're trying to catch a different kind of thing in it. So they're going outside of their own race, but that's just a percentage of people that we see. You get me? There's a lot of people we don't see that are still putting in work and still working on being successful and setting up generational wealth that are kind of pushing that whole narrative of like, don't step outside the race because we're trying to build something that's kind of, it gets better over generations.
But it's mad though because do you know Aiden, for the people for the audience, I'm 3/4. My nan's white, my mum's mixed race. But I look at myself as being black, like I'm black. That's how I'm looked at and that's how I feel. That's the food I am, everything black, you get me? But at the same time, I've got to ask the question, do you feel that if me and you saying a black man should get with a black woman is a wrong thing to say?
Yes.
Okay, that's your question.
Yes, it is wrong to say.
Okay, listen, I agree. I'm asking the question for a reason.
Yeah.
Do Asians...
Listen, we can't... Okay.
What I'm saying is they arranged marriages. I'm yet to meet an arranged marriage with an Asian woman married into a black man.
That being said, there are a lot more people of different races that are going into interracial relationships.
We need to bring someone.
No, we definitely need to bring someone, but sorry girl, sorry to quick, but the point I need to quickly just slam on the table, is that as far as I look at it, with the Asian community, they have a way of doing things in it, and I feel like they had a strategic plan with that. Do you understand? Because what I'm noticing now.
Let me just drop in there.
Go on.
I think what we need to put in there though, one thing that makes the Asians completely different to blacks is that one thing that we were strict of, that no other race was strict of, was their identity. You got it. Our last name, my last name is Jackson. I know I'm not a Jackson, and your last name's Taylor, but boy, I know the way Taylor was. You get me like.
Yeah, it's true.
Asians are singing.
Yeah.
You get me like that's their last name. So.
Careful what you're gonna say.
No, I'm blessed. Obviously, so that I think that is where we should leave it. Identity. Obviously, we restrict our identity, which kind of has a massive knock-on effect.
But it's also the perspective of other people, because I've said this to you guys before. In a room full of white people, they see me as black.
What colour are you again?
I am 1/4 black, Jamaican.
What? That's a makeup good.
I was about to swear some bad words.
I shouldn't have high-fived you.
Yeah, you definitely should high-five. I don't know why you high-five, because you like saying, the makeup's patting you up.
Everyone's like, I should have to make straight.
I just want to say the highlighter is scented.
She's looking at a sponsor.
But seriously though, I think...
in a room full of black people, I'm white. In a room full of white people, I'm black. And it just depends on how people take it. Because me, I would consider myself, in fact I just go straight forward, like I am mixed race. I never say, I'm black or I'm white. And I don't claim to go through things that other black people have gone through. Or white people. Like growing up when I was in school, my nickname, I had some derogatory names thrown at me. And at the time, I just thought nothing of it because I always knew it's how they were brought up, because I went to a very white school.
Yeah.
There's probably 3 black families on the estate that I grew up on. That is changing now, but...
Do you feel like, knowing that you're mixed race,
yeah.
do you feel like you can just swagger your way through life? Do you feel like there's less pressure on you? Because you can either, if things go left, you can go left, and if things go right, you could just go right. Or do you feel like or is it more you feel one side or of your race or another side?
I do feel definitely more towards my black side just because I have grown up in a white community, so they always viewed me as the outsider. Like some of my best friends growing up when I was in high school openly said, there was like, Kelly, we can't bring black people back to the house, my mum will go mad. So there was times that I was
Say no joke, man.
I've
got white family, man. Like white, like blonde hair, blue eyes, like that kind of white.
Even when I'd go to their houses though, because they met me and they knew who I was and they got to know me, I've never ever had any kind of, backlash from it. They've never treated me any differently, but then they have openly said, yeah, but she's not bringing a black boy home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What colour's your boyfriend?
Okay. It's not my mom. It's not my mom.
But you know what it is? So again, it's like it was that important thing in it, identity, and obviously going back to it and going back straight back to what we're trying to do within the community of and the city of Wolverhampton, is kind of push that as well, push those young people out there to kind of form their own identity and don't allow their peers that are around them, which are negative peers,
and don't let their surroundings, their
environment, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like you can kind of judge what path they're going to go on based on what their surroundings are. You can kind of say, yeah, he's going to end up there. A few don't, but majority of them do go through a cycle of hitting certain things before they overcome their barriers.
Yeah.
So for me, identity is important.
It's so important.
100%.
It's the most important thing to a person, because if you strip someone of their identity, what do they have left? And that's what we want to do. We want to look at the underlying issues of why certain people are going down certain paths and how we can challenge that, how we can make a change, how we can support them, because to begin with, people aren't going to want to come to us, but we hope that in time, with enough support, we've got a lot of services that are going to be working with us. We're hoping a lot of parents will be on board, we hope the youth will be on board. Hopefully we can help. And the main goal is prevention. While we'd like to stop things that are currently happening, if we can stop it before it happens, it's going to make a huge difference. A huge difference. And we want to instill values into people as well. Like, if you have an opinion on something, be loud about it, say how you feel. Don't let other people's views make you feel a way. So for instance, how my friends would say, oh, can't bring a black person home, blah, 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 blah. That used to make me feel so small and make me look at myself and be like, oh, I don't want to catch the sun too much. Luckily, I've got some beds, I've got this I'm rolling.
And on that note, nah, but you know what?
Go on.
Quickly, what I wanted to do,
Before I do the outro.
I don't know if we're about to do it now, but what I wanted to do is obviously I wanted just to kind of all think of someone and kind of pick someone that we can actually discuss in regards to the success that they've had within the city.
Yeah.
That's kind of grew their business.
I'll talk about someone.
Yeah, organically, quickly.
Alright, come then. You do one.
No. It can be. I just want it to be one person that we all kind of know of. Just quickly.
Go
on.
No. Oh, you're saying we do it each, or?
I was gonna say just one person,
One person.
and then every week we just kind of just pick another person.
I'm going to take the lead with this one. So.
Go on now, you can.
Sophie Lou, she is a music artist from Wolverhampton. I've known her for over 10 years, so we've literally seen her go from the very beginning to where she's reached now.
Yeah.
She literally just put on her first headline show. Well, no, tell a lie, she had a show. It's her second, she had one last year, but this one, she's had an even bigger capacity. She's got more
I was there, it was a good
support.
show.
Unfortunately, I was ill, I couldn't make it. However, the reviews that I've read of it, the footage I've seen, it looked phenomenal, and I think it's fantastic that I've actually seen someone go from the very beginning. And she was also somebody that she kind of put herself away. She was like, this is what I want to do. I remember we was in one of our friends' bedrooms, she was like, oh, I really want to sing, and we was trying to egg
How
on.
many years ago was that?
This was when we was probably like 17, 18.
Yes,
and I'm
10 years.
Yeah. And
that's the important way I start going.
Literally, we was in our friend's bedroom, and me and my friend were like, come on, sing to us, and she was so shy, and she was like, no, like, and we put a JoJo song on, because she loves JoJo, and she started singing, and to remember how shy she was then, and all the barriers that she's come up against, for her to now put on a big show, and she's had, one thing I admire about her is she's brought other people on. She had multiple support acts. She even had Katie and Lindsay, they also hosted it for her.
And she's been herself. I think that's the most important thing. Identity. And obviously, you know, one of the episodes we'll probably be able to have her on here, and she'll be able to kind of touch base.
Bring her on, definitely.
Touch base on identity. But yeah, Sophie, you know, she openly speaks about mental health and how fragile it was for the things that she went through. And I think once she just said, you know what, and she dusted off her shoulder and said, this is me, this is how I am, you know, I'm not going to kind of pattern myself to be anything like anybody else. I'm me. I think that's where, you know, she really started to make ground in regards to her career and her as an artist and what she wants from it. You know, I've had a conversation with Sophie directly, and you know the passion that she's got for her journey.
She's clever because she's like on this mind, body and soul thing. Yeah. So Soul Search, that's the name. Is that the name of her new album?
Yeah.
So Soul Search.
And it's that whole holistic approach.
Then again, like she's saying, you got to think. She's saying Soul Search, and you search for your soul, which is also searching for who you are.
Yeah.
Again,
identity. Yeah. So well done, Kelly. Yeah.
What's the name of this episode?
Identity. That has to be.
So yeah. So Philip, big up. We have to cut this one now. Well, thank you for watching. Do me a favour, subscribe, comment, like, share. Get me like that's what you gotta do, man. Like even if listen, even if just to share it, even if you've only got you watch the first 10 minutes, then you're gonna watch after to share it
just
because we need numbers. Yeah.
Even if you don't want to watch our next episode, just share it so other people can.
And how often do you want us to put an episode out? Yeah. We're thinking like 1 or 2 a month. It's for you guys, isn't it? We're gonna be releasing
topics.
Yeah, topics as well.
Yes.
But we're releasing them on Sundays when you're sitting down and having your dinner. Obviously, you've all got like them smart TVs to get YouTube up on your telly. So if you haven't, then why? I don't know what I'm to you. But yeah, so every Sunday we're looking to be releasing. But you tell us how much times a month do you want it to be released and what topics do you want us to touch base on. Yeah, A4NB, always forward, never backwards. Respect.